Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to this behind the scenes sneak peek of my new book, Black Belt Secrets of Success. I want to spend a few minutes talking about success foundations. Now, who doesn't want to be more successful? I think we all do if given the choice. But what I'd like to do today is, again, go inside this new book scheduled for release towards the end of the first quarter, 2024, called Black Belt Secrets of Success. I want to take an excerpt from chapter 3, The Success Foundations, where I talk about the fact that all too often you and I erect roadblocks that we put in our way that limit our opportunities. We actually self-sabotage our own success more often than not. So for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about some foundational success principles. So you may want to grab a pen and a piece of paper because you're going to want to take some notes. And I want to start with a dictionary definition of success. Now, success by definition is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. It is the good or the bad outcome of an undertaking. Success is also the state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. That's an interesting definition. And success may be viewed as the opposite of failure. Well, of course, it's going to be the opposite of failure. Think of the yin and yang in martial arts. You've got success on one side, failure on the other. You can't have success without failure, and you can't have failure without success. But the big question you and I must all answer is this: what does success look like? What does success really look like to you? Now, there's many answers to this question, and as many of you that are listening to this recording, there are as many different answers to that question as there are people in the world. Everyone has their own definition of success. For some people, it's a thinner waistline. For other people, a fatter wallet. For other people, it's better relationships. For even others, maybe it's a more rewarding career. For other people, perhaps it's being a better, effective leader. For even other folks, maybe it's leaving a lasting legacy, or maybe it's accomplishing a series of things that you've been recognized for. So what does success really look like? Well, to me, success looks like a number of things. And as the world looks at Dr. John Terry, what do they see? They see a man who has earned black belt rankings in 5 distinct martial arts systems. They see an individual that's become a 3-time Martial Arts Hall of Fame inductee. They see someone that is a 2-time Amazon Top 100 best-selling author. They see someone who in 2021 was recognized by the governor of Kentucky with a commission as a Kentucky colonel. They also see an individual recognized by President Joe Biden with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for leadership. They see someone who earned his doctorate in theology in 2022 and in 2023 was recognized in the marquee Who's Who of America and was recognized as a Brains 500 global leader and influencer. That's what many people would say. That is success to John Terry. But I'm here to tell you that one of the greatest successes for me in life are not these accomplishments, which I am very, very proud of, but one of the greatest accomplishments for me is being a good husband, a good father, and a good grandfather. Now, to my knowledge, there's not an award for that, but it doesn't make those things any less important or any more meaningful to me than any of the other accolades that I've gotten for the things I've done over the years. Understand this: success, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. So what does success look like to you? How would you define success? Let's take a few minutes and let's talk about that. My good friend Jeff Henderson wrote an amazing book a few years back. The book's entitled Know What You're For. You want to pick that up on Amazon. Great read, great book. Jeff is a great guy. Now, in Jeff's book, he asks 2 compelling questions. The first question is this: what do you want to be known for? The second question that Jeff poses in the book is this: what are you known for? Now, when you look at the first question, you get to answer that. You get to define what you want to be known for, what success looks like to you. The second question, what are you known for? What are you seen as successful at? That's the question other people get to answer. Now, the gap between what you want to be known for and what you are known for is your opportunity to improve yourself and to become more successful. Now, this concept that Jeff presents really takes us to the very first black belt secret of success I want to share with you today, and that's this. If you don't define success, you are never going to achieve it. I mean, how do you know what a win is if you don't define what a win looks like? And if you don't define success, how will you ever know if you have achieved success if you don't know what it looks like or what constitutes a win that leads to success in your life? Now, I had the opportunity several years ago to meet Sir Edmund Hillary Jr. If you don't recognize the name, his father, Sir Edmund Hillary, was the very first man, along with Tenzing Norgay, to summit Mount Everest, the tallest place on Earth, 29,032 feet in elevation. It is literally the highest point on planet Earth. Now, to get to the top of Mount Everest, you can't get there in one single fell swoop. You can't just start at the bottom and go straight to the top. You're going to work your way up different sections of the mountain, stopping along the way at 5 specific campsites to rest, to acclimate, and to prepare for the next leg of the journey to ultimately get to the top. Now, on your way to each section, the mountain presents different topography, and it's a different climb between Camp 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each section of the climb is different, and it demands something different of each and every climber. Now, success is much the same way. And if you want to truly summit your Mount Everest of success, there are 5 foundational principles that you've got to embrace and live out. So over the next few moments, we're going to visit 5 camps on your climb to the top of your Mount Everest of success. The first is Camp Purpose. Now, Camp Purpose is all about discovering your passion. It's about discovering your calling. It's about discovering your mission and fully embracing it. Understand this: purpose is the reason for which something exists. It's the reason for which something is created, or it's the reason for which something is done. Now, your purpose is really your all-encompassing why. Why do you do what you do? Why did you choose to work in the industry you work in? Why did you choose to marry the person you're married to? Why did you choose to drive the car that you drive? Why do you choose to do the things you do every single day? Every day we need to be looking at and understanding our why. Who do you serve as an audience, and why did you choose to serve that audience? Do you work with retirees? Do you work with pre-retirees? Do you work with people that are millennials, Gen Xers? Do you work with females? Do you work with males? Do you work with children? What is it that you do, and why did you choose that audience? Now, that why says a lot about you, but it also helps you establish your purpose, because your why is about doing something that is personally meaningful, but also makes a positive impact in the world. Now, I had an opportunity a few years ago to read an incredible book from Simon Sinek called Start With Why. And if you've not had an opportunity to read that book, again, that's another must read if you want to be more successful in life. But understand this: one of the things Simon talks about in the book is the fact that we all know what it is that we do. Now, that's pretty easy to answer because we're asked that question every single day. And if I were to raise my hand and ask you to raise your hand and say, how many of you have been asked, tell me what you do at a business event, a chamber function, or you're meeting someone for the very first time? Oftentimes they say, what do you do? Well, we've answered that question so many times that has become ad nauseum. We know how to answer that question. Maybe we're a sales professional. Maybe we're a plumber or an electrician. Maybe we're a financial advisor, a business owner. Maybe we drive a long haul truck. There's a lot of different things that we could be doing, but we know what it is that we do. Now, in the financial services industry, oftentimes when I ask people what they do, they will tell me they're problem-solving experts helping their clients achieve financial outcomes. If I talk to an accountant, they say, I help people minimize the amount of money they give to Uncle Sam. Again, that's the what that they do. And everybody knows what they do because they're asked that every day. But there's a second question, and that's how we do it. Most of us understand what we do, but not as many of us understand how we do it, or at least how we do it well. Now, that may depend on how long you've been on your journey. If you just got started in a new profession, you may not know how to do it well yet because you're still learning how to do it. Maybe you've been in the same profession for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you really understand not just what you do, but how to do it effectively well that serves your client or customer at the highest level. When we're talking about your how, we're talking about the systems and processes that are required for you to serve your client and your customer at the highest level and provide them the products and the services they need, creating that exceptional experience that makes them want to come back and experience that over and over again. But the one question many of us often can't answer is the why we do what we do. Now, this is a very important foundational question that you've got to be able to answer, because if you don't understand the underlying why of why you do what you do, you're not going to be as successful as you could be. Now, why is that? Because your why drives what you do. Let me say that again. Your why drives what you do. When you understand your why and the audience you're serving and the reason you're serving them, now you have the opportunity to approach that line of business with black belt excellence, doing it at the very best and highest level that you can. Now, when I'm meeting with audiences, I like to help them go through an exercise to discover their why. So I want to give you 6 specific questions that you can use to define your own purpose-driven life and help you identify why you do what you do. Question number 1 is this: what do you like to do that fulfills you? It's a pretty straightforward question. What fulfills you as an individual? The second question: what do you like to do that energizes you? What do you do that when you do it, you get this great burst of energy and you feel like you could do it all day long? Question number 3: what do you do that excites you so much that you can't wait to get out of bed every morning to go do it again? The fourth question: what is it that motivates you or drives you to take action? Is there a cause that you truly care about, that you want to make a difference in the life of someone or change lives at a greater, higher level? And the last question is this: what is it that you're passionate about? And what do you dream about doing or becoming? Those 6 questions are going to help you define your purpose-driven life. Now, to me, somebody that exhibits a purpose-driven life is Thomas Edison, one of the most prolific creators and inventors of the 20th century. I mean, if you think about all the things that this man invented, he invented the light bulb, he invented the record player, he invented the mimeograph, the copy machine of the day, he invented motion pictures. There are so many inventions attributed to this man. It's absolutely incredible. But one in particular stands out to me as it relates to purpose, and that's where Thomas Edison became a man that knew his why. Now, Thomas Edison was in the process of developing and understanding electricity. He was the creator of direct current. Nikola Tesla, who worked with him for a period of time, came up with alternating current. And if you studied this period in history, the two men were competing back and forth over whether alternating current or direct current was going to be the electrical system that powered the grid that you and I live on today. But one day, as Edison looked out the window of his laboratory, it was getting dark outside, and he noticed an individual coming by on a horse and lighting the lamps outside on the street lights. In that era of time, the street lamps were lit by gas. The flickering light of that gas lamp gave some illumination to the highway, but it didn't do a really good job at truly illuminating the roadway. He looked around in his office where these gas lights had been lit to illuminate his office. And in certain areas, when you were very close to the lamps, you had a lot of light. But as you moved away from the lamps, there was less light. So Edison envisioned a world where he could harness this invention of electricity and to come up with a way that he could utilize electricity to create a steady, brilliant, bright way to illuminate not just the highways, but to illuminate every home across the United States. That why to invent the incandescent light bulb became his quest. And after 10,000 failed attempts, Edison was successful. His why kept him motivated to keep moving forward until he actually finished what he started. I love a quote that Edison says that I think is foundational to understanding the principles of success. Here's what he said: "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always trying just one more time." Now, this leads us to the second camp on our way up the mountain of success, and that is Camp Persistence. Now, it is at Camp Persistence that you're going to learn the lesson Og Mandino shared in The Greatest Salesman in the World. One of the scrolls that he shared, Hafid shared with his servant: "I will persist until I succeed." Because once you've identified what your purpose is, now the hard part begins, actually fulfilling that purpose in the earth and bringing it into a life of its own. Now, this second camp leads me to one of the black belt principles of success, and that's this: successful people do daily what unsuccessful people do sometimes or not at all. This is the very definition of persistence, because successful people do daily what unsuccessful people will do sometimes or not at all. So as you look at your daily routine, are you doing things daily that drive success in your life? If you're not doing them daily, you're not going to be as successful as you could be, because unsuccessful people only do successful habits sometimes if they do them at all. Now, I think the person that really embodies persistence is my friend, Ryan Leake. If you're not familiar with the name, let me tell you Ryan's story. Ryan was an incredible guy growing up. He played basketball at a Christian college. He was involved in the NCCAA, National Christian College Athletic Association. Ryan met this incredibly beautiful woman, and as they began to date, she made a comment that she thought it would be cool if she could get engaged and married on the same day. So Ryan set out on this quest after he made the determination that he wanted to ask this beautiful woman to be his bride, to set up an engagement and wedding on the same day. For 2 years, Ryan persisted in putting together every piece of putting together a wedding he didn't know how to do to be able to inspire his wife and show her that he loved her enough to help her dream come true. And then just before the final event, Ryan thought, I'm going to videotape this so that we have an opportunity to remember this special day. So Ryan gathered together a friend and set up the event. They set up the wedding venue in a hotel, and Ryan managed to get his girlfriend to the hotel. And with everyone hiding in the back room, Ryan got to a strategic location and he dropped to one knee and he proposed. And he said, honey, would you like to marry me? And then he said, no, no, no. Would you like to marry me today? And then all of a sudden, people drew back a curtain, and here was a big sign that said today, and friends and family were all there, and everybody yelled, today! Well, lo and behold, she said yes, and Ryan and his fiance got engaged and married in one day. But the story doesn't end there, and this is where the persistence part comes in. As a result of this video, this wedding in a single day went viral. And as a result of that video going viral, Ryan and his wife got invited on several TV shows, one of those being the Queen Latifah show. So while they're on the set and recording this, Kobe Bryant pops in via video feed and congratulates Ryan for all of his success in putting together and manufacturing and crafting this engagement and wedding in a single day. Kobe invites him to come spend a day with the LA Lakers. Well, Ryan is just beside himself. And as he goes, he's going through this routine of thinking, what do I want to say to Kobe? What can I talk to Kobe about? And Ryan gets this idea that he wants to do a documentary about chasing failure. He wants to try out as a nobody for an NBA team, and he pitches the idea to Kobe Bryant while they're together at the Lakers stadium. Kobe listens intently and nods his head as he's listening. And finally, he says, Ryan, just do it. And so Ryan goes out on this quest, having been challenged to try out for an NBA team. He reaches out to the Boston Celtics. He tells his story. He gets a reply back in 30 minutes. Ryan, we like the idea of a documentary about chasing failure. It's just not for us. So Ryan's thinking immediately, I've been turned down by a team. But then he stopped and said, wait a minute. The Boston Celtics replied to my story, my idea. They said it just wasn't for them. So Ryan shifted the focus of what he wanted to do with his documentary from getting an opportunity to try out and fail, trying out for an NBA team, to being turned down by all 36 NBA teams. Well, lo and behold, the Phoenix Suns got an email and reached out to him on a Friday and said, Ryan, we want you here on Monday to try out. Bring your camera crew and show up. Well, Ryan didn't have a camera crew, so he grabbed a buddy from church. They jumped a plane, and through a number of issues, and I won't have time to tell the whole story, but through a number of issues, Ryan actually made it to the Phoenix Suns. He had an opportunity to try out to make it as a Phoenix Sun NBA basketball player. Now, again, remember, he played in the NCCAA, and he was a really good player at that level, but he wasn't quite at the college level. But Ryan continued on that quest to have an opportunity to serve and be engaged and involved with an NBA team as a player. That didn't pan out for him because he didn't make the team, but now Ryan has become a sports coach and a motivational coach to multiple NBA teams. Ryan is the epitome of persistence and moving forward, and borrowing the phrase from Og Mandino, persisting until he succeeds. Now, one of the lessons I learned from Ryan, and again, it is another black belt principle of success, that's this. If you can't stomach failure, you're never really going to know success. Remember, Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he created the incandescent light bulb. Ryan Leak was turned down by multiple NBA teams before he had an opportunity to try out, turn that into a video of chasing failure, which became a best-selling book, and now has him working as a motivational coach to other NBA teams and speaking to the different groups across the country. It is a great story to learn. At times, you're going to fail at what you do, but failure is where you have the opportunity to learn and grow and discover what doesn't work, so you can keep trying until you learn what does. Now, the third camp on the road up the mountain to the summit of success is Camp Price, the third camp. Because not only do you need to know your purpose, not only you need to persist until you succeed, and knowing that this is going to take some time, there is a price to pay for success. Success is never free. And someone, either you or someone else, is going to have to pay the price for you to be successful. Successful people are willing to pay that price, and highly successful people are willing to pay that price over and over again as they continue to experience greater levels of success. Now, to me, perhaps one of the best stories of paying the price is the story of Kobe Bryant. Now, Kobe Bryant, in any term that you want to look at, is probably one of the greatest basketball players, if not the greatest, to ever play the game. Now, Kobe's training regimen was intense, going all the way back to his days in high school. Where most people would get up and they would do maybe an hour or two workout in the morning and maybe an hour or two workout in the afternoon, Kobe started his day at 4 a.m. He trained for 2 hours from 4 a.m. until 6 a.m. until he took a break for breakfast. At 9 a.m., he was back on the court for another 2 hours of intense training before he took a break for lunch. Kobe was back on the floor at 2 in the afternoon for yet another 2 hour workout. And then he took a break to relax and rest, have some dinner, and then at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., another 2 hour workout. 8 hours a day, day after day. This was Kobe's ritual. This was Kobe's routine. This was the price Kobe was willing to pay to become one of the best basketball players that have ever played the game. And in fact, there's an incredible interview that you'll find on YouTube. It's called Start Earlier. And an excerpt from that, I think, really says a bunch about what Kobe had to say about success. He says, you do that, talking about the routine that I just shared with you. And as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and peers just grows larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, it doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never gonna catch up. That is an amazing statement, understanding there is a cost to pay. Now at Camp 4, we've arrived now at Camp 4, which is Camp Pleasure. Now, before you get too excited about Camp Pleasure, what I'm talking about here is the fact that there has to be an element of fun and enjoyment in what you do. You've got to have some level of excitement and energy, because if you hate what you do, you're not going to do it for very long. You know, my dad told me growing up, John, if you learn to love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I have to say, Dad, you were half right. I learned to love what I do, and it's a joy to do it, but there's still a lot of hard work. You still got to persist, and there's still a price to pay. But here's what I've learned. Because I love to do what I do, much of what you would call work, even though it's hard work, I enjoy doing because I know where it's taking me and what's going to happen when I get there. I get great joy in serving my customers and my clients. I get great joy in the preparation I did to prepare to bring this message to you, and the 2 years I spent preparing the book that's going to be released at the end of the first quarter of 2024. And once you learn to appreciate and enjoy what you do, your work becomes like play. And we all know when we're playing, we're having fun. Now, this is where the Pareto principle comes back into play. And you may say, John, what in the world does the 80-20 principle have to do with success? Well, understand this. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. So why not do more of what gives you pleasure that's going to give you the greatest reward for the effort you put in? You know, all of us are great at some things that we do. But what we're really great at doing, we can probably count those things on one, maybe two hands. Now, there's a lot of things that we are good at doing. We're average, we're mediocre, and they're things we can do, but they don't give us the satisfaction and fulfillment that we would get if we were doing what we love to do. And let's all admit it, there's things that we simply can't do that we stink at doing. And if we try to do it, it's just going to stress us out. We're going to get angry. We're going to get frustrated because we just simply can't do it. So let me give you a thought here. Successful people spend 80% of their day focused on the 20% of things they're best at doing. Let me say that again. Successful people spend 80% of their day engaged in the things that they are 20% best at doing. Now, if someone can do something 80% as well as you can, assign that task to them, delegate that task to them, let them operate in the area of their greatest strength where you can focus on what you're best at doing. And if you've got a team of people, every one of those people on your team are all performing in the 20% of what they're best at doing, man, you've got a high performance, non-leader dependent team that is going to rock it, and you've got the opportunity to be super successful. So you're on a mission, should you choose to accept it, to spend 80% of your day focusing on the 20% of things that you're best at doing. Put your energy and effort there, and you won't be disappointed. But along the way, don't forget you've got to take some time to celebrate the journey. Part of camp pleasure is learning that you can't spend 24 hours a day working. There's got to be some fun, some relaxation, and some excitement in your life. 80% of the pleasure you're going to experience is going to come from the 20% of the time that you're away from work and learning to simply enjoy life. Understands what gets rewarded gets repeated. Let me say that again. What gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you want to experience success over and over and over and over again, reward success, because what gets rewarded gets repeated in the brain. Because every time you celebrate a win, the brain releases this cocktail of chemicals, these endorphins that tell our body, man, whatever you did feels great. Go do it again. So celebrate the wins. Maybe for some of you that are daredevils, it's diving off the top of a gigantic waterfall into this amazing water below. Maybe it's simply having a party and celebrating the wins with friends and family, or maybe it's taking you and a significant other on a cruise in the Bahamas. Whatever it is, understand there has to be balance in your life. Because here's what I know, success breeds success. And when you are personally successful, that's going to bleed over into your professional success. And when you're professionally successful, that can bleed over into your personal success, because success breeds success. Now, that brings us to our fifth and final stop on the way to the top of the mountain, and that is Camp Passion, your fifth and final stop on the journey to your Mount Everest of success. Now, this is really a return to Camp 1, but in a much deeper and a much more meaningful way. It's about having the opportunity to go back and revisit your why, your all-consuming underlying why, what it is that you do, but at a deeper, more meaningful way. It's what my mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, refers to as significance. Now, in his signature book, The 5 Levels of Leadership, my friend Dr. John talks about 5 distinct levels of leadership that we have the opportunity to serve in. The first of those is position, where you have an opportunity to lead other people and they follow you because they have to. From there, you move to permission, where people give you permission to lead them and they follow you because they want to. From there, you move to the third level, which is production, which is people following you because you're generating some success for the organization. And then you move into the fourth area, which is people development, where people are following you because you are developing them and helping them grow into their full potential. But this fifth level is what we call significance. This pinnacle of leadership, significance, is about your highest calling, it is about your greatest purpose, and it is about your lasting legacy. You know, one of the things I've heard Dr. John say over and over again is this: once you've tasted significance, success will never satisfy. Now, think about that. Success is momentary. We win a race, we were successful, but now we've got to go run another race to be successful again. We have an opportunity to achieve a goal. We were successful, but now we've got to go achieve another goal to be successful again. We climbed to the top of a mountain. Hey, congratulations, you made it. Now you got to go climb another mountain to be successful again. Success is a benchmark on the road to significance, because success after success after success can lead to a life of significance, which is a lasting legacy of how you're going to be remembered. Significance is about how you're going to be remembered when you're gone and the lives you changed along the way. Think about it this way. Somebody's going to write your epitaph when you're gone. So why not write it yourself by the way you live your life? Now, let me leave you with the tale of two houses. Two men decided that they wanted to build a house. One man built his house on a solid foundation of stone. The other man built his house on a sandy beach. Now, a massive storm came through the region and began to pound against the surf in the area where these two houses set. The house that was built on the firm foundation withstood the wind and the rain. But the house that was built on the shifting sands of the beach did not. It collapsed. It was a total loss. The lesson is this: the foundation upon which you build your success matters. So choose what you build and where you build it, and build it well. And with that, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to give you some insights and an excerpt into my new book, Black Belt Secrets of Success. If you enjoyed this and you want to follow me on social media, visit my website, beablackbeltleader.com. That's beablackbeltleader.com. On the Contact Us area of the website, you'll find all my social media channels. You can also subscribe to my newsletter on Substack, as well as follow my podcast channels and my video channels on YouTube and Rumble. And while you're there, be sure and check out several of the books, courses, and other resources I've got available, free and paid resources. There's a number of great books that can help you discover, develop, and deploy your black belt leader within. And watch for the soon-to-be-released Black Belt Secrets of Success. Now, let me leave you with this as we wrap up and call it a day. Everybody's leading someone somewhere right now, even if the only person you're leading is yourself. So don't just be a leader, be a black belt leader and live your life with black belt excellence. This is the ultimate black belt secret of success. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.